Welcome back to the Tip of the Iceberg podcast, brought to you as always by InsideThePenguins.com. We have our Pens predictions for the 2022-23 season. We did way too early predictions back in June. That was where it stood there. I know I have a couple different answers from what I had back in June. So, Horwat, let's start it off with penalty minutes, because when you look at the penalty minutes for the Pittsburgh Penguins, there's one guy to me that always sticks out, and I'm going to stick with him here. I'm going to say Evgeny Malkin leads the Penguins in penalty minutes this year. One, because I expect him to stay healthy this year. Like, I have a feeling, and it might be misplaced, similar to my misplaced feeling that the Steelers would cover the 14-point spread against the Buffalo Bills. But I have a feeling that he's going to stay relatively healthy. I'm not going to say he's going to play all 82 games. We'll talk about that in a second. But I expect him to stay more healthy than he's been in years past. He's averaged over a penalty minute per game in his career with 1,008 penalty minutes in 981 career games. He's hunting down Kevin Stevens for the all-time Penguins record. He's 40 penalty minutes away. He's clearly going to get that this season. So my penalty minutes leader is Evgeny Malkin. Who do you got?
I am going to agree with you, and it's simply because of the fact of numbers. I'm looking at last season's numbers, which is where a lot of my answers will probably be based in. But last season, Evgeny Malkin played 41 games and hit 24 penalty minutes. Double that up, to a full 82 game season, he would hit 48 penalty minutes. I can't do math, which is only 1 minute, one singular 60 seconds behind Chris Letang, who led the team last year.
Yeah.
So I think you do give Malkin that more time. Sure, he's getting better. He's getting a lot better at not taking penalties, but I just think it's hard when you're the least penalized team in the league to also really come up with a good answer for this. But I think just the way Malkin is, we know he can go red mist. We know he can eat up those big ones and take dumb ones. I think it might be close between him and Letang, but I believe Malkin gets the edge and takes down that record because he's close to it. I forget what the number is exactly.
He's 40 away. Yep.
Yeah, that'll happen pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. He averages over a penalty minute per game, so he could have that notched up by the midway point if he sticks to his career average. But so we both have Evgeny Malkin for penalty minutes. I know that's a change for you. You had Chris Letang back in June, but like we said, that is very early predictions. And of course, things change as you see these guys actually take the ice before the season.
And I didn't even remember my old predictions, so that can help too.
Let's move over to a Tip of the Iceberg exclusive award that we give out every year. That is the Iron Penguin Award, handed out to the player that plays in every single game this year, slated for all 82. So this player would have to play in all 82 games. Horwat, last year's winner, Evan Rodriguez, has departed. So who do you think, if anybody, the answer to this could very well be nobody. Who do you think could be the Iron Penguin Award? Who's your prediction?
We hope it might be more than one person, but I'm going to stick with just a singular answer of Jake Guentzel. I think him shooting for possibly 50 goals, possibly 100 points, he would have to play all 82. That would be a necessity.
Yeah, is that the
that's
end?
All I got.
That's all you got. He has to score 50, so he has to play in 82. Okay, well that's fair.
Well, if that's what he's gunning for, yeah. The only way I think he does get out, I think he could stay healthy all season. The only way he does miss a game is if he's healthy scratched, game 82 for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Jake Guentzel has remained healthy throughout his career, except for that one injury. Like, he had that one shoulder injury, and other than that, he's been healthy. Last year, he missed the first game of the season due to COVID, but other than that, he's played in all these games. Jake Guentzel, if he does win it again this year, if he plays in all 82 games, he will become the first two-time winner of the Iron Penguin Award in its history. Now, we've done this for 3 seasons already. 2 of the 3 seasons, we've had 2 winners. Last year was the only one where we didn't. I think that it goes back to 2 winners this year. I agree with you. Jake Guentzel is my prediction, one of them. But I think Kasperi Kapanen also plays in all 82 games this year. I like Kapanen's chances. I think, one, the organization has a renewed sense of trust in Kasperi Kapanen. 2, I think he's going to have a bounce-back season, which is going to avoid that healthy scratch. And I think 3, the way he plays the game. Yes, we've seen him. He can be a physical player when he wants to be. He body checks. He does all the fun stuff like that. But his skating is good enough and he's fast enough, and he is smart enough when he's on the ice that he never really takes that big hit. He kind of is really able to avoid it. So you know what? I have him as well. So Jake Gensel and Kasperi Kapanen are my predictions for the Iron Penguin Award. You're sticking with just Gensel.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So let's move over to goals. I'm just going to go right through it because I also have Jake Gensel. I had Evgeny Malkin previously. I might have overestimated, but I really do think Evgeny Malkin's going to still score close to 40 goals this year. In a line with what I've said already is that I think he's going to be healthy. So I think Malkin gets close to 40. But man, I really feel like Jake Gensel's going to push that 50 goal mark this season, and I don't see anybody else outscoring him. So I have to go with Jake Gensel for goals.
I know, I know it was the preseason. I know it was the very bad Buffalo Sabres, but there was something dynamic between Jake and Sid during that game. There was something. Oh man, their chemistry is in midseason form already. They are ready to go. Those two are going to push points, goals, assists, all of it to not new levels that have never been seen before in the NHL, but to just incredible heights this year. I have Jake Gensel leading this team in goals as well because Sid's is going to be setting him up all season long. Does he push 50? He's going to get damn close, I think. I don't know about making it, but he's going to be damn close. He might. And then as for 100 points, again, that's a little harder, but all of it is going to be damn close. I think while I have Jake leading in goals, I don't know about points yet for a reason.
Well, we'll get there in a couple minutes, but before we get to points, let's get to power play points. The Penguins' man advantage has been much maligned throughout the preseason. They looked pretty good on Friday against the Buffalo Sabres in the preseason finale, but we'll see what they're able to accomplish this year. Hopefully better than 19th in the National Hockey League. But who do you have leading the Penguins in points on the man advantage?
Points, so it could be assists as well?
Yes, power play points.
You know, just because the whole thing kind of filters through him still a little bit, Chris Letang, he's going to be dishing the puck a little bit more this year. Like I had mentioned, he still has a great opportunity to eclipse another career year, and it doesn't even have to come in the form of high scoring. It can be an increased level of defense. So with all of that being said, sure, the power play needs to improve, vastly improve, and become what it should be when you see guys like Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Jake Gensel, Chris Letang, Brian Rust for the first minute and a half of it. Yeah, if it all filters through Letang, he should be able to sling in quite a few apples.
Mm-hmm. See, with that, I really I like your pick of Letang. I think it's a good thought because he usually touches the puck on every single power play, and it does filter through him. But I really also think that of all of the players on that unit, you look at last season, Crosby led the team with 30 points, 8 goals, 22 assists. Evgeny Malkin, who only played half the season, had 20. He had 9 power play goals, which was good for second on the Pittsburgh Penguins team.
Forgot about that.
So I'm going to go with Evgeny Malkin because, you know, if in half a season he is only at 66% of Crosby, who led the team, I think in a full season with Evgeny Malkin entering healthy, because remember, he was coming off a knee surgery and he was able to do that. So I really do think that the unit runs more through Gino than it does through Letang. Just because Letang's at the point, I think it runs through Gino more because you see him on that bumper slot, and he's the one that feeds between Letang and Crosby. And Crosby can make that cross-ice pass to Gensel, can make that cross-ice pass to Rust, which cuts out Letang for the third player to touch the puck. So I'm going to go with Evgeny Malkin on this one for power play points.
Fair enough. I like that one too. He can tack in the goals. That's kind of the help as well.
Yeah, he's always the guy that kind of ends the play, but also I think that positioning too, that go between Letang and Crosby, they don't get the puck directly from one to another very often. It usually goes between them and Evgeny Malkin. So yeah, I'll stick with Malkin on this one. I'm pretty confident about that. We have 3 more to get to here. Points just overall in the season. You talked about it before. You said maybe Jake Gensel, but you have another answer up your sleeve.
No, his trigger man, whatever. His setup man. That's what I'm looking for. Sidney Crosby. Just another year of Sidney Crosby leading the Penguins in points. That's all. It doesn't need much explanation. Whenever the only people to lead this team in points since their arrival was Crosby and Malkin. I think Kunitz slipped in there once, but that was weird.
And the shortened season in 2012-13.
That he was playing a lot with Malkin that year, and a lot of those points came from Malkin.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just another year of Sidney Crosby leading this team in points. It might not be the goals thing, but it's going to be setting up Jake Gensel like nobody's business.
Mhm.
Those two are going to be a problem for the NHL this year. So yeah, he had 53 assists last year in 69 games.
Mm.
If he's playing more than 69 games this year, he's going to have far more than 53 assists.
Mhm. I agree with Sidney Crosby. I think it's a pretty obvious one. Like I don't like to agree on a lot of things, like everything, and I know you want variety,
Of course.
but Sidney Crosby has not offered up the opportunity for variety in his career for this
No.
position. You know, points to lead the Penguins is Sidney Crosby's bag. Like that's what he does. Evgeny Malkin was able to do it a couple times, like you mentioned. Chris Kunitz letting goals once. Jake Gensel's letting goals. Jake Gensel halved the points lead with Sidney Crosby, despite playing, I believe, 10 more games than him. But it's going to be Sidney Crosby because I also see him passing the century mark this season. It was part of the bold predictions that we did last week. If you didn't listen to it, go back and listen. Last Monday's episode, I see Sidney Crosby passing the century mark. I don't think that it's landing on it like he did the last time he hit 100 points. I say he notches 106 points this season. That's my official prediction.
There it is.
I see 34 goals, 72 assists for Sidney Crosby. And it sounds very correct with the lines. If you look at last season, he scored 31 goals and 53 assists. And with the extra games played, if he can play close to 82, I think that's where he finishes up.
It just decided to have the exact stat line at the ready. Do you have his plus minus as well?
He's going to finish as a plus 25. I don't know. I didn't look into that, but I actually did some research to come up with 106 at least.
And that's fair. And that's a good number. It's eclipsing that 100 mark at his age would be incredible. And I mean, not that his legend needs to be solidified anymore,
no.
But hitting that kind of number this late in his career is just stupid. I love it.
They already have most of his plaque engraved at the Hockey Hall of Fame, so it's not like he needs much else to add.
They just need to enter, like, it's just blank spaces where his career point total, all the stat totals are going to finish up. Everything else is set.
Yeah, and the Stanley Cup Championships is still blank because he has 3, but he could get another. At least we're hoping so. But to do that, they're going to have to win a lot of games in the regular season. So, Horwat, win total for the Pittsburgh Penguins this year. Do you have a prediction there?
I have a prediction. Let's see. So they had 46 last season.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was third in the division. And I think they can make the jump to second if they try. If they like these DraftKings predictions are going with. Mm-hmm. I could see us probably touching 49 to 50.
Okay.
I'm going to go on the low end and say 49. And maybe that comes the 11 overtime losses, though.
Yeah, that's an issue. That's an issue that needs to be figured out.
I'm going to bump it up a little more. We rarely do get more than 50 wins. In fact, it's only happened, in the entire span of this team 4 times. Mm-hmm. 3 of which coming in the Crosby era. Man, you know what? I'm going to go 50 clean. You know what? I'm going to bump it up to 50.
Okay. When looking at last season, like you mentioned, 46 wins, 11 overtime losses, which is a problem for the Pittsburgh Penguins. For some reason, they're not good in overtime. They're not good in the shootout. Like, they'll win a couple of games, but they usually always have a good bit of overtime losses, which makes no sense considering the players that they have had over the past 15 seasons plus. I'm going to say they improved from last season, but I think it's going to end up around the same place. I think they get one more win from last season. I think they get 47 wins, but I see it similar to last year where they have a lot of OT losses because it baffles me how bad they are in the overtime. Like, I don't understand what their attempts are, and you see it sometimes when it works out. You're like, that seems so easy. Why is it that you make it look so difficult in other instances? I don't understand. But overall, I think they have a better defense. I think they're going to get a better start from Casey DeSmith, which is going to help Tristan Jarry in the long run. I think getting Malkin and Crosby to start the season is such an added boost that it's going to let them get off to a good start, despite they got off to a good start last year. But I think they do it again this year with Crosby and Malkin in the lineup. And I think you're going to get better performances from 16 and 42, from Jason Zucker, from Kasperi Kapanen. So I think overall this team's going to be better. I just think as a whole, the Eastern Conference is going to be more difficult this year.
Yeah, it is. The Atlantic has gotten a lot better somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And while the Metro is still a dogfight, every team is difficult. And I would toss and say the Flyers are not, but we are the Penguins, and we find ways to lose to the Flyers. So every team in the Metro, for the Penguins at least, is a difficult game.
Mm-hmm.
So I do still think this team improves, and the Flyers games may be difficult, but we find ways to win. And Tristan Jarry's got a lot to prove this year. Casey DeSmith has a lot to prove this year. So our goaltending should be improved just by sheer fact of these guys need to be better. So I'm just slipping us with 4 extra wins, and I think we figure that overtime thing out.
We'll see. We'll see about that. But I do think that the Eastern Conference is going to be much tougher this year than it was last. I mean, you look at last year, the beginning of the season, the Detroit Red Wings were really good for the first couple of months. I think that they're still on that trajectory. I think you look at the added confidence that the New York Rangers will have heading into this season. You look at how much better, in my opinion, the Washington Capitals are going to be this season than they were last. It's going to be tough to get wins in the East. And I think the Penguins do duplicate what they were able to do, add one more. And with that, I think they finish second in the Metropolitan Division. I'm agreeing with the DraftKings odds. I know I ranked them 4th in my Metropolitan Division power rankings to start the season, but that is just what it is. That's where I think they are at the beginning of the season. But I think through the year, the veteran leadership, the experience, and the ability to have a lineup that has the chemistry together. Like that forward lineup, people are saying, yeah, well, you ran it back. Well, there's an added bonus there, and they have that chemistry. And most of them underperformed last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like they underperformed, or you didn't get to see enough of them. Ricard Raquel, you didn't see enough of them. Underperformances from Zucker, Kapanen, from, I would say, Teddy Bluger, Jeff Carter at the end of the season. There were underperformances. Now, if they can stay healthy, that's a big question. But I have the Pittsburgh Penguins finishing second in the Metropolitan Division and notching a playoff berth for the 17th straight season.
Yeah, I do as well. And that's for everything you said, but also looking around the division, I think the Rangers and Hurricanes finished as the 2 teams in front of us last season. One of them, it's got to be one of them, has to falter, obviously. But I think the Hurricanes, for as good as they are, they're still an interesting team of proving that they are the real deal. If this is even going to make sense at all, they're a great team. Do not get me wrong. They're a phenomenal team, and I am scared to play them at times. But I just don't see them fulfilling their expectations. The Rangers might be able to do it. They might also take a step back, though. But they added some good pieces. And if Shesterkin is still as good as he is supposed to be, and that's going to be difficult. But I think we're able to fly above one of the two because everyone behind us, Capitals, Islanders, Blue Jackets, who I think are greatly improved, but still can't do it. Devils and Flyers, we're better than all those teams. The Caps are going to struggle out the gate and might not be able to rebuild it because they're down Backstrom. Oh, they're down Backstrom and Tom Wilson.
They were down TJ Oshie, Anthony Mantha, and Nick Backstrom last year, and they got off to a hot start. They were in first place for the most of the beginning of the season, though. But that's a different conversation.
You don't need TJ Oshie, though. I'll stand by that. I will stand by that to this day.
I think you're just hating on somebody because you don't like him as a person.
Oh, I love TJ Oshie as a person.
Well, as a player on the ice, that's what I mean.
Yeah, and I've never liked him as a player all these years. They take me back to the St. Louis Blues days. I will stand on that mountain. That being said, we're still a better team than these teams. The Penguins are still better than these teams. And if they're able to find sneaky wins from other teams around the league, you're going to bump over. That's just the way it is. It's not going to be by beating the Metro specifically, but it is by winning the easy games in Seattle, winning the easy games in San Jose. Vegas is not the same team anymore. Picking up a couple of wins here and there outside of the Metro should be able to bump your numbers.
I think you're massively disrespecting both the Vegas Golden Knights and the Seattle Kraken, but we can get into it.
Quick, name Vegas's goalies.
Logan Thompson is going to be really good this year.
Is he? All right.
I don't think anybody understands that Logan Thompson is not a scrub. Like, just because he's not Robin Lehner or Marc-Andre Fleury does not mean that he's a scrub. And that team has always been good. they've always had good defense. They were so beyond injured last year, like extremely beyond injured last year, that it was ridiculous. And then Robin Leonard being out, here's the thing. Logan Thompson's going to have all season. I'm going to back him until he proves me otherwise. So I'm on Logan Thompson. I'm on the Vegas Golden Knights. I think the Kraken are going to be much better this year. I don't think there's easy wins to be had anywhere in the NHL except for on opening night against the Arizona Coyotes, and they better pull it out. We will preview that game on our Thursday episode this week. On game day,